Welcome back, listeners, to Sandman Stories Presents. Today we have something special for you. It's Grandmamma Easy's Stories of the Alphabet, printed in Appleton, Philadelphia. Now, I couldn't find anything on the author, but it seems to be a series, and most places it comes up as a British series. So this is just Stories of the Alphabet, and they go through all the letters, and you'll see. Okay. Let's begin. Grandmamma Easy's Stories of the Alphabet, Appleton, Philadelphia. New Little Stories of the Alphabet. A begins Anne. Miss Anne is a good girl. She likes to read and work and do all that she is told. If her mamma says, "Anne, do this," she smiles and says, "Yes, mamma." Anne will please her little brothers and sisters. She is so kind that they all love her. B is the first letter in B. Bees make wax and honey. They work hard while the sun shines. You may see a great many bees in the garden, on the flowers from which they suck the sweet juice, which is made by the bees into honey. C begins cat. Pretty puss, how smooth her skin is, how bright her eyes. She will let me play with her, and does not scratch me. But she is not so kind to rats and mice, for she will catch them and kill them too, if they come in her way. D begins dog, and a very good dog is our Tray. He guards the house at night, and if anyone should try to steal the fowls from the hen house, he would bark till they made us hear him. Good Tray, I am very fond of you. E is the first letter in egg. Hens lay eggs, and the eggs, when hatched, produce little chickens. You may see a number at the farm. Chickens are fed with corn, and when they grow large, are called fowls, and are sent to the market to be sold. F begins fox, and a sly fellow he is. The fox lives in the holes in the woods, but he often comes out and waits near the farmyards to run off with the fowls or ducks or the geese, for he is a sad thief. Some rich men keep foxes and hunt them for sport. G begins goat. The goat is very tame, and looks very wise, for it has a fine long beard. The goat gives milk. It is not quite so good as the milk of a cow. But where there are no cows, people are glad to drink goat's milk. H is the first letter of horse. How noble he looks, and what a useful creature he is. I do not know what we should do without the horse to draw carts and coaches and to carry people on his back, for they could not walk so far as he can take them, nor in half so short a time. I is the first letter in inn. This inn stands by the roadside. See what a pretty place it is, with its pleasant gardens and a painted sign over the door. An inn is a house where persons may take tea or dine or sleep, but they must pay for all they eat, and for their lodging. J begins Jay. Pretty jay with its bright plumage. The jay is a talking bird, like the magpie. That is, it can be taught to utter sounds like words. But speaking birds do not know the meaning of what they say. K is the first letter in kite. I like to see a kite fly up in the air. It is tied to a long string, which the boy holds in his hand, and he can pull the kite down if he chose, but he likes to see it fly up high. L begins lamb. Lambs are playful and very pretty. When lambs grow up, we call them sheep, and their flesh is called mutton. The wool, when spun and wove into cloth, makes our warm clothes. M begins mouse. Oh, little Master Mouse, so you are eating the cheese, I think. But if Puss should come this way, she would soon spoil your dinner, so you had better run away. N begins nosegay. See what pretty flowers there are in it? Here are roses and pinks and bluebells, and many more beside. How sweet they smell! I should like to have a little garden. O begins owl, a bird that does not like the daylight, because he can see best when it is almost dark. When the sun is set and the other birds are going to rest, the owl begins to fly abroad. P begins parrot, in a fine tall cage. Hark! You shall hear her speak. Pretty Poll, what's o'clock?
Past 2,
said the parrot. What is your name?
Polly, Pretty Polly.
Q is the first letter in Queen. Here's the Queen and Prince Albert riding in the park. You told me, Mamma, that the Queen had a little boy. Yes, my dear, he is the Prince of Wales, and if he should live after his mamma, he will be King of England. R begins rabbit. It is a very pretty creature, with long ears and nice soft fur. In the country, you may often see a wild rabbit run across a field or a path, and then they are sometimes shot, poor things, for they are good to eat and make a very nice pie. S begins squirrel. What a fine bushy tail it has, and how fast it jumps about in that high tree. Squirrels are caught in the woods, where they live in a wild state, upon nuts and acorns, and leap from tree to tree with great ease. But they are sometimes tamed and kept in cages. T is the first letter in T-to-tum. Come, let us spin it and play at this merry game. The T-to-tum has 8 sides, with a figure on each side. We will count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. U is the first letter in urn. Our urn is set upon the table at tea time, full of hot water for Mamma to make the tea with. Tea is the leaf of a plant that grows in a distant country, and the leaves, when gathered, are dried to make them ready for use. V is the first letter in vessel. All ships are called vessels, yet some are named brigs, sloops, barks, etc. Perhaps this one is going to China to fetch tea, or to the West Indies for sugar and coffee. I hope she will have a good voyage and return safe. W. The wagon is made wide and long to carry a great many goods. See what fine horses there are to draw it? The man who drives a wagon is called a wagoner. He is very proud of his horses, and calls each of them by its name. X. This letter sometimes stands for the number 10, and it is sometimes used on the faces of clocks and watches, and at the top of chapters in a book. Y begins yew tree. The wood of this tree is useful for making bows with, because it is very strong and will bend without breaking. Those who shoot with bows and arrows are called archers. Z begins zebra, a pretty creature, something like a donkey in size and shape, but its hair is soft and smooth, and it is all over black and white stripes, just as if its skin was made of ribbons. Zebras are found in the wild in the Cape of Good Hope and in South Africa. The end.
In the world to me is my mother, old and gray.
This is part of the Appleton's series of juvenile books. I thought it was cute. It was a few interesting stories, a few odd ones, but for the most part it just seemed like a primer for kids for learning their alphabet. Thank you, and good night.